Texas Congressman and author of the book Holding the Line, Ronny Jackson, joins us tonight. Good to have you back on, sir. What exactly will this do for the justices and their families?
Well, Rob, you're right. This is about time, right? This has been locked up in Nancy Pelosi's office for a month now after being passed and unanimously by the Senate with a real sense of urgency, like you mentioned. And what this will do is this will allow us to provide protection to the Supreme Court justices and their families, right? Because the reason that this was held up and this was stuck in the House after being passed so quickly by the Senate was because the left wants this. They want the justices to be intimidated. And what better way to intimidate a Supreme Court justice than to allow these nut jobs that are out roaming their streets in front of their houses, causing all kinds of problems, to threaten their families. And so that's what this was all about. But the attention was so great on this that Nancy Pelosi had to give in, and she had to provide this protection much earlier than she wanted to. They wanted to drag this out until after the decision came out in hopes to intimidate the justices and potentially change the outcome of what we know this decision will be, which will be protecting life in this country.
Will it prevent what we've been seeing? I mean, it was so interesting to watch the White House basically say that they thought it was okay to have people try to intimidate Supreme Court justice, because in this country, what we're learning is that laws that are politically inconvenient to one party no longer really matter and don't really need to be enforced anymore. That's what we figured out. So what will this do specifically?
Well, this, like I said, it will allow the protection of their families. But here's the deal. This is where the hypocrisy comes in, because, you know, they don't care about protecting the families or the justices themselves, yet they go out of their way to make sure that Liz Cheney and members of the squad, 27 Democrats voted against this in the House, including all the members of the squad, AOC, Omar, Presley, Tlaib, Cori Bush. These people all have their own protection because their lives are so valuable and their jobs are so important that they have to be protected. But they could care less about a conservative justice or their families, and that's really that's the horrific thing here. That's where the hypocrisy just is incredible. Yeah,
you remember that soundbite of Cori Bush bragging about how much she spends on her own protection while she tells us all to defund the police. Is a great moment there from her. And then you remember Schumer's soundbites. Obviously, the people that stir all this up, the rhetoric in this country has been at a 12 for the last 5 years now. Steve Scalise knows something about that. He was almost killed by a radical left-wing Bernie Sanders supporter. He asked the question most of us were wondering. Take a listen.
If you go back over a month, we've been asking Speaker Pelosi to bring the bill that went out of the Senate unanimously. She was holding the bill, then she was trying to play games with the bill. I think you'll see the lion's share of Republicans and Democrats vote for that bill. It just begs the question, why did Speaker Pelosi delay it for over a month?
And there you have it, right? I mean, perfectly said, wasn't it?
And they're so lopsided on this, right? They talk about President Trump. President Trump, they're trying to, hang him over the fact that he said, go down to the Capitol and protest peacefully. And then Schumer comes out and he's talking about Supreme Court justices, and he's saying, if you do this, you won't know what hit you. That's a direct threat. What's he talking about other than violence? These people aren't elected. They're not up for an election. It's not like he was threatening that that the voters would throw them out of office. There's only one thing that could have meant, and that was a physical threat.
Of course. Well, Schumer's just, he's so weak and he's so mortified that somebody's going to AOC him, which is how she got into office. And so he's just moved so far to the left. He's such a phony whatever. I mean, the guy is just, he's lost it. He's too old. He needs to go. Congressman Jackson, thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it.